I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, American patriots and patriots all around the world. Welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. Had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. Folks, tonight I've got just it's one bad story after another. And I wish I could say that things are looking bright under this current administration. I wish I could say that I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but the only light I can see is in the event that Republicans take back the Senate while keeping the House, rooting out the evil Republicans that are in it, as well as taking back 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, so that we could then get rid of certain people like in the Department of Justice and the FBI and Homeland Security that do not have our back in this fight against illegals, criminals, sex trafficking, and across the globe, terrorists. And as you're going to find out tonight, many are probably right here in America waiting to kill you and me. So let's start off tonight talking about the latest threat from Russia. Russia is warned of catastrophe consequences if relations continue to sour, and it will spark World War III between Moscow and NATO. The Russian foreign minister released a dire statement on the 90th anniversary of the Russian-U.S. relationship, warning that relations were hanging by a thread. The statement read in part, "Owing to Washington policies and rampant Russophobia, risk being severed at any moment. This is not Russia's choice, but reckless moves of the United States that spin the wheel of escalation, including the doctored risk of inflicting a strategic defeat on Moscow, risk leading to catastrophe, and there will be consequences. Relations between the West and Russia have plummeted to new lows, not since the Cold War following NATO's backing of Ukraine." And I've been talking about the absolute horrible things that are coming out of the mouth of the Russian leadership, from Putin to his generals, and now his foreign minister. Moscow accuses the U.S. of being hopelessly and nonsensically focused on changing the regime and stirring up internal strife in Russia, a project into which substantial funds are being invested. Despite the harsh rhetoric, Russia's foreign minister just days before said that the U.S. had offered to hold backroom talks with the APEC summit in San Francisco. Spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said, "Even the U.S. started to signal its readiness to engage in pragmatic and formal dialogue with us behind the scenes. I can't say anything. There have been such approach. Nevertheless, Washington policies of fruitless verbal altercations still prevail. This is what you see on your screens," she said. As Russian war with Ukraine approaches its third year, Moscow's position on the battlefield has become more desperate. Billions of dollars worth of Western weaponry has flooded into Ukraine, blunting Russia's advances. Amid this backdrop of Russian soldiers being killed by NATO weapons given to Ukraine, tensions have skyrocketed. Rhetoric out of Moscow has been sharp, with some politicians and pundits going as far as to call for an all-out nuclear war with the West. A war between NATO and Russia would be devastating, and many think that such a conflict would definitely go nuclear. Russia has nearly 6,000 nuclear warheads, while NATO countries, the US, UK, and France, have similar to the same amount. Just a handful is enough to destroy the world. 6,000? Look, I've said this once before. I will continue to say it. I don't care what you think of Donald Trump. I've got my own negative things I could say about Donald Trump all fucking night long if I wanted to. And any president for that matter. They all have flaws. They all have done and said some stupid shit. But we had peace in the world while Donald Trump was the president of the United States. We had a border that was damn near secured. The wall hadn't been finished, no, because Congress kept holding up money for it. But at least the men and women on the border had our back, and the backing of our president, the backing of Homeland Security, the backing of the FBI, the backing of the Department of Justice. Biden takes office and that all goes away. Now the border is being overrun. Not only do we now have the fentanyl, massive amounts of drugs, sex trafficking of men, women, children, cartel engaging in firefights with our National Guard on the border, MS-13 gang members, but now terrorists in our country. And finally, the FBI is admitting it. And they're getting a little, they've admitted some time back that there were sleeper cells in America. But just yesterday, they made it pretty damn scary in Congress, explaining the situation, which we're going to read next. But besides that, Russia had not invaded Ukraine, although they talked about doing it for the entire 4 years of Donald Trump's time as president. Donald Trump put North Korea in check, China in check, Iran in check. And now those three are teaming up with Russia. We have Iran backing Hezbollah and Hamas, attacking Israel, and now currently, as I speak, attacking our warships, U.S. warships that are in the Mediterranean. It is absolutely a shame what this administration has allowed to go down. There's no leadership at any part of this administration. None. Nor do they support our Constitution. They're pissing on it. FBI Director Christopher Wray yesterday said that the number of illegal immigrants evading Border Patrol agents and escaping into the country is a source of great concern. Although sitting right next to him was the Homeland Security Secretary, that piece of shit Maracas, who said, oh, the border's secure, and continues to preach that bullshit. FBI director told lawmakers that threats from the other side of the border are consuming FBI field offices. Director Wray testified to lawmakers on the House Homeland Security Committee about worldwide threats to the United States. Chairman Mark Green asked Director Wray about the number of gotaways, illegal immigrants at the border who evaded Border Patrol, which have exceeded, are you ready for this? Over 600,000 in just fiscal year 2023. Customs and Border Patrol sources said there's been over 47,000 gotaways since the beginning of the new fiscal year, which was October 1st. Green said the number of gotaways since the beginning of the Biden administration is well over 2 million people crossed our southern border and were not apprehended because we don't have a border wall and we don't have enough men and women in the Border Patrol and law enforcement on our border. Can the FBI guarantee Americans that known or suspected terrorists, including any from Hamas or other terror groups, are among those gotaways? They asked Director Wray. He said, well, certainly the group of people that you're talking about are sources of great concern for America. That's why we're aggressively using all 56 of our Joint Terrorism Task Force, Director Wray said. He later said that anytime you have a group of people in the United States that we don't know nearly enough about, that is a source of concern for all Americans from our prospect in our lane of protecting America. Director Wray testified that there's been an increase in the number of known suspected terrorists attempting to cross the border in the last 4 years. The number of those encountered with the terror watch list hit a record numbers in fiscal year 2023. Director Wray said he couldn't speak to why that is, but added the threats that come from the other side of the border are very much consuming all 56 of their field offices, not just in border states. Testimony comes aimed renewed concern, particularly from Republicans, but also from within the Biden administration, about the potential of terrorists to use the border to gain access to the United States, particularly as Border Patrol agents are dealing with record migrant numbers. There were over 249,000 migrant encounters just in October. After an FY fiscal year 2023, which broke records for migrant encounters, Republicans had pinned the blame on the Biden administration for its politics, while the administration says it needs immigration reform and more funding to address the broken immigration system. Now, immigration reform has absolutely nothing to do with this problem. Zero. Those concerns about terrorists have been renewed in the wake of the Hamas terror attack on Israel. Green told Fox News Digital on Tuesday that the U.S. is at heightened risk and said the open door policy at our border is largely to blame. Director Wray has previously told lawmakers in the Senate that the threat of a terrorist attack against Americans has been raised to a whole other level due to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East and the known terrorists that they have already caught at the border. He said the most immediate concerns include homegrown violent extremists who are inspired by foreign terrorist organizations or by domestic violent extremists who are targeting Muslims or Jewish targets. Border Patrol memo warned fighters from Hamas, Hezbollah, and other groups are seeking to enter into the United States. Although the agency said last month it has had no indication of direct fighters attempting to enter. The Department of Homeland Security fiscal year 2024 threat assessment warned that agents have encountered a growing number of those that are on the terrorist watch list and warned that terrorist and criminal actors may exploit that elevated flow and increased complex security environment to enter the United States. Individuals with terrorism connections are interested in using established travel routes and permissive environments to facilitate access to the United States, the assessment also said. However, the agency has also stressed that it works tirelessly to screen, vet, and prevent anyone who poses a threat from entering the country, and that encounters of known or suspected terrorists are rare, which watch list encounters are also included in those associated with known or suspected terrorists, including relatives. So, if you've had 2 million people come across our border and were not apprehended by Border Patrol, and they're somewhere in our country, and you've already caught thousands that are on the terrorist watch list, if you don't think that we have terrorist cells right now in America getting ready to kill me and you because of this fucked up administration that doesn't give a shit about us, then you're smoking some bad crack. Our border security efforts, including biometric and biographic screening and vetting, a Department of Homeland official said. CBP screens and vets every individual encounter. And if an individual is determined to pose a potential threat to national security or public safety in accordance with the Joint Terrorism Task Force, we either deny permission, admission, detain, remove, or refer them to other federal agents for further vetting and prosecution as appropriate. Except for the 2 fucking million that you didn't catch. Now, George Santos, Republican, New York. Before he was even sworn in, right here on this show, I told you this son of a bitch has no reason to be in our Congress. He is a pathological liar. It's some type of a huge medical issue because it's just unbelievable what he lies about. He lied about his education. He lied about jobs. He lied about fucking everything. He is a walking pathological liar. So I've called immediately that he be expelled from Congress. Be done with. Gone. Of course, I also called that for Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib, who they seem to want to give a pass to because they're afraid if they expel a Muslim, then guess what? Oh, it's going to be classified as racist against Muslims. That's right. The Department of Justice and the FBI and this administration, under the leadership of those 3, is afraid of Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib, who are inciting violence for the extremists that are already in America and causing people to get injured and killed. So let's talk about Santos. Chairman of the House Ethics Committee will move to expel Representative George Santos from Congress after the release of a damning report into the embattled Long Island Republican. It takes a damning report. We saw, we watched. It was exposed for the world to see. Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, they all covered it. Lie after lie after lie after lie on his resume. Chairman Guest feels that the evidence uncovered in the committee's investigation is more than significant to warrant punishment, and that the most appropriate punishment is expulsion. Republican Mississippi Representative Michael Guest, personal office, said today. So, separate from the committee process and his role as chairman, he plans to file an expulsion resolution tomorrow at 9 a.m. The Ethics Committee released a damning report that accuses Santos of having used campaign funds for personal purposes and engaged in fraudulent conduct, among other allegations. Who's that sound like? Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib. Guests following the resolution tomorrow tease up an expected vote on whether to boot Santos from the House sometimes after lawmakers return from the Thanksgiving break on November 28th. A 56-page deep dive into the allegations against Santos by the panel's investigation subcommittee detailed campaign funds being spent at spas and luxury stores, among other questionable places. Who's that sound like? Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib. At least Santos isn't calling for the death of Israel and Jews and, white people. The bipartisan subcommittee unanimously agreed that Santos knowingly caused his campaign committee to file false or incomplete reports with the Federal Elections Commission, used campaign funds for personal purposes, engaged in fraudulent conduct in connection with Redstone Strategies, LLC, and engaged in knowing and willful violation of the Ethics and Government Act as it relates to his financial disclosure statement filed with the House. That includes $50,000 in campaign donations that were wired to his personal bank account on October 21st, and allegedly used to, among other things, pay down personal credit card bills and other debts, make a $4,127.80 purchase at Herman's, and for smaller purchases at OnlyFans, Sophia, and for the meals and for parking. Santos also spent more than $2,200 at resorts in Atlantic City, New Jersey, from July 23rd to July 24th, according to the report, despite a staffer telling the subcommittee that he was not aware of any events in Atlantic City that did not attend any campaign events in the city. Likewise, in the same month, the campaign spent $1,400 at Virtual Skin Spa in New York, a full-service medical spa based in Long Island that performs cosmetic procedures such as Botox, microneedling, and facials. Another part of the report said Santos posed a lengthy response to the report on X, formerly Twitter, in which he announced he would not seek re-election now in 2024, but accused the House Ethics Committee of bias. Now, while I'm all for seeing him gone, and I called for him to not even be allowed to become a member of Congress, he's right about the bias part. Yeah, I mean, it's true. We're giving terrorist sympathizers in Congress a pass, and not this guy. And this guy doesn't belong in Congress. In fact, if I had a choice, he, along with Omar and Rashid Tlaib, would be deported from America because they're anti-American. Let's face it. He said if there was a single ounce of ethics in the Ethics Committee, they would have not released this bias report. The committee went on extraordinary lengths to smear myself and my legal team about me not being forthcoming. Santos wrote, "It is a disgusting politicized smear that shows the depths of how low our federal government is sunk. Anyone who participates in this grave mischaracterization of justice should be ashamed of themselves." GOP lawmakers from New York previously moved to expel Santos earlier this month, but the effort failed along bipartisan lines. But most Democrats who said they voted to punt the measure explained they were waiting for the findings of the Ethics Committee report. So, Congress, what about the same for Tlaib and Omar? They're inciting violence. They're inciting college students across this country to side with Palestine and Hamas and hurt and kill Jewish people in America. They're inciting that anyone who happens to show an Israeli flag, whether they're wearing on a shirt or a hat, or they're at a protest, to attack them. And that's been happening. We've had already, that I know of, 2 people that are now dead based on the rhetoric that's coming out of Rashid Tlaib and Omar's mouth. Dead. Right here in America. Because they were Jewish. Speaking of that horrible, disgusting bitch, Representative Tlaib is part of a secret social media group in which its members have glamorized Hamas and its war battle with Israel after the terror group attacked and linked hundreds of innocent Israeli citizens last month. The Michigan Democrat is a member of the Palestine American Congress group on Facebook. The group is hidden from non-members and does not appear on the platform's search engine. Although, due to somebody on the inside, they gave access to this to Fox News Digital. The group's founder, Mahar Abdel Kadar, who has extensive ties with Rashid Tlaib and has also been linked to other liberal politicians, has come under fire in his past for his anti-Semitic social media posts, including questioning if the Holocaust even occurred. The Palestine American Congress group, of which Tlaib is a member, has featured pro-Hamas posts in the wake of the deadly October 7th attack on Israel. On October 12th, one group member posted, "We don't want to throw you in the sea. We want you to write it back from where you came from." This message was accompanied by a picture of an elderly Israeli woman with a Hamas fighter holding her captive. On October 19th, another group member wrote about the achievements of the resistance in northern occupied Palestine, including dozens of dead Israeli soldiers. The post included a picture of a Hamas fighter with them. Since yesterday, I've been attached to the TV watching the news. One group member posted on October 10th, addressing the American media and saying, "You and the people directing you are the problem. You created it almost 100 years ago, made it official 75 years ago, and you have been feeding its flame ever since. You consider Hamas a terrorist organization, and I'm not going to argue with you. At the same time, you have been broadcasting that they have been killing women and children. Yes, that's what terrorists do at the same time, not mentioning the killing of Palestinian women, children, and entire families killed on a daily basis by the peace-loving state of Israel using Americans' gift of weapons and jet fighters. Yesterday, I didn't see Hamas. I saw grandkids of the refugees and ethical cleansing of the homeland attacking the grandkids of the colonists who sent them to die," the letter wrote. Congresswoman Rashid Tlaib became a member of the group 6 years ago and posted in it during her 2018 congressional campaign. The following year, she came under fire after a report in the Daily Caller News Foundation revealed her membership in a slew of anti-Semitic posts in the group. Tlaib is the only Palestinian American in Congress and has faced scrutiny over her comments about Hamas' bloody invasion, ensuring war. In a lengthy symbolic gesture, the House of Representatives voted to censor her in a 234 to 188 vote last week as a formal public rebut to her most recent anti-Israel comments made in the wake of the Jewish nation's battle against the terror group. The congressional office will not respond to any news media outlets about that. Tlaib has a long history with the leader of this Palestine American Congress group, who has repeatedly promoted attacks against Israel, conspiracy theories over the years. He previously shared a video that calls Jews Satan and questioned whether 6 million of them had died in the Holocaust. He later walked back those comments. Abdel Qadar has participated in several fundraising events for Tlaib over the years. He has also appeared in several pictures with her posted to social media accounts. The Palestinian activist has not only been a key fundraiser for Tlaib, including personally donating at least $6,500 of his own money to her campaign in 2018, but also the chairman of her finance committee during her 2018 congressional campaign. Tlaib introduced him by the title at a campaign event and presented him with a medal in April of 2018 as a sign of gratitude for his help with her inaugural campaign. This past Monday, he posted a flyer on his Facebook page advertising a Chicago fundraiser for Tlaib and Pennsylvania Democrat Representative Summer Lee, two congresswomen who he says wholeheartedly support their community and the just cause of Palestine. Since Israel launched a counterattack against Hamas, he has attended pro-Palestinian protests in the United States and has posted anti-Israel messages on his Facebook page. For example, on October 19th, he posted Israel Nazis airstrike on Al-Ahli Arab Hospital, killing more than 500 people. Stop the massacre now. In reality, a failed rocket launch from the Palestine side was responsible for hitting the hospital. Despite this, Tlaib and others repeat the falsehood that Israel struck the hospital, even after reports have shown that was not the case. Even video showing the rocket coming from inside Palestine. And in addition to Tlaib, he also supports for several other progressive politicians, including fellow squad member Cori Bush of Missouri. Bush took part in a virtual Zoom fundraiser with him in September 2021, per his since locked Instagram account. In November of that year, he posted a Bush fundraiser flyer for a reception hosted by St. Louis Palestine Solidarity Committee and the Muslim community of St. Louis, which solicitate donations between $100 and $2,500 for the campaign. It appears he donated $250 to her campaign as a fundraiser. The controversial activist has also campaigned with several other Democrats, including New York City Mayor Eric Adams and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, who likes to beat women, among others. Dear Director Wray of the FBI, make your agents do their motherfucking job and go take these terrorists out of our Congress and put them away. They are a threat to America's society. They are a threat to our homeland. They are spewing anti-American and anti-Jewish hate every fucking day on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and now it's been exposed. Why are they not in handcuffs? Representative AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is leading renewed calls for President Biden to support a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas over grave violations being committed against children in the war. We write to you to express deep concern about the intensifying war in Gaza, particularly grave violations against children, and I fear that without an immediate ceasefire of hostilities and establishment of robust bilateral ceasefire, this war will lead to further loss of civilian life and risk dragging the United States into dangerous and unwise conflict with armed groups across the Middle East, progressive lawmakers wrote. Ocasio-Cortez and 23 other progressive members of Congress wrote to Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken today, asking for details on the U.S. plan to de-escalate tensions in the region. They cited figures from both Israel and the Hamas-run Ministry of Health in Gaza about how many children have been killed or abducted since Hamas militants launched a surprise attack on southern Israel on October 7th, killing hundreds of civilians. Israel has responded by bombing Gaza with rocket fire and ground invasions. We affirm our unequivocal condemnation of Hamas attacks on Israel that took place on October 7th, in which Hamas killed 1,200 Israel's Jews and foreign nationals and captured over 200 hostages who were taken to Gaza, Democrats wrote. While exact figures have not been released, Israel authorities so far confirm the identity of 846 civilians killed, including 31 children and at least 20 children who have been abducted by Palestine armed groups. We also share dire concerns with the ongoing Israeli response, in which the Israeli Defense Force have killed over, are you ready for this? 11,078 Palestinians, nearly half of whom have been women and children. You fucking liars. That's Hamas putting that out. The same group that attacked and killed Israelis, chopped off the heads of babies. There's video of it. Y'all should watch it. Have a fucking get together with a glass of wine and watch the videos of babies being put in ovens in an apartment and burned alive. That's why Israel is attacking these son of a bitches. Hamas must be eradicated from the face of this earth. There's no other option. And yes, there will be casualties of civilians. That happens in war. But Israel wouldn't be having to do this if Palestine had rose up and stopped this fucking takeover by Hamas. They allowed them to operate in their hospitals, in their schools, in places that they knew Israel would not attack. What the fuck is wrong with you idiots? Among the signatures of this letter are Rashid Tlaib, Cori Bush, Pramel J. Powell, Alejandro Mar, Jamel Bowman, Jim McGovern. We are proudly shocked by the grave violations of children's rights in the context of armed conflict in Israel and the occupied Palestine Authority, they wrote. I can't even finish reading that. My fucking blood pressure's through the roof. I don't understand. I don't get why our FBI and our Department of Justice are not actively taking these motherfuckers down. You did it to those on January 6th that supported Trump. Even those that didn't even go in the fucking Capitol. Even those that didn't do any violence. That just went in the Capitol because that's where the crowd went. And in many cases, were welcomed in by the Capitol Police. Oh, that's on video too. You put them away for years. By the way, it's the people's house, not yours. But yet, people that support terrorists in our Congress and are speaking in ways to incite violence against Jewish people, you're allowing to have a free pass. A TikTok influencer went viral this week for promoting Osama bin Laden's letter to America. Online personality and pro-Palestinian activist Lynette Adkins, and I'll spell that for you, Lynnette, last name Adkins, urged her over 175,000 TikTok followers on Tuesday to read the words of the terrorist mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks. I need everyone to stop what they're doing right now and go read. It's literally 2 pages. Go read A Letter to America, Adkins said in the video. And please come back here and just let me know what you think, because I feel like I'm going through like an existential crisis right now, as a lot of people are. So I just need someone else to be feeling this. Her video has received over 1 million views and counting, and over 80,000 likes on TikTok. In the letter to the American people, translated into English, bin Laden justifies al-Qaeda's attack against the U.S. because you attacked us, and you attacked us in Palestine. Palestine, which has sunk under military occupation for more than 80 years. The British handed over Palestine with your help and your support to the Jews, who have occupied it for more than 50 years. Years overflowing with oppression, tyranny, crimes, killing, expulsions, destruction, and devastation, bin Laden said in the letter. He continued, the creation and continuation of Israel is one of the greatest crimes, and you are the leaders of its criminals. And of course, there is no need to explain and prove the degree of American support for Israel. The creation of Israel is a crime which must be erased. Each and every person whose hands have become polluted and that contribute towards this crime must pay its price and pay for it heavily. Bin Laden wrote that it brought him both laughter and tears when the U.S. repeated the fabricated lies that the Jews have a historical right to Palestine and rejected the notion that believing otherwise is anti-Semitic. The blood pouring out of Palestine must be equally revenged. You must know that the Palestinians do not cry alone. Their women are not widowed alone. Their sons are not orphaned alone. The terrorist leader warned, later writing, these tragedies and climate are only a few examples of your oppression and aggression against us. It is commanded by our religion and intellect that the oppressed have a right to return the aggression. Do not await anything from us but jihad, resistance, and revenge. Is it in any way rational to expect that after America has attacked us for more than half a century, that we will then leave her to live in security and peace? He later pushed the anti-Semitic trope, claiming that Jews control your politics, media, and economy. Another TikTok user, Ray Reeds, posted the entire letter on her page, which received over 1 million views so far, despite she only has 1,300 followers. We've been lied to our entire lives, she said. I remember watching people cheer when Osama was found and killed. I was a child, and it confused me. It still confuses me today. The world deserves better than what this country has done to them. Change must be made. The Guardian, which had bin Laden's letter to America published on its website since 2002 and was the first Google search result, then searched for the document, quickly removed the letter, aimed the sudden traffic on social media. A spokesperson for The Guardian said, the transcript published on our website 20 years ago has been widely shared on social media. Therefore, we have decided to take it down and direct readers to the news article that originally contextualized it instead. In a separate video, Atkins praised TikTok as a platform for reliable information consumption. TikTok is going to save this generation, she said. The amount of things that we've learned on this app in the past month alone, that people in other generations, I tried to talk to them about it. They don't understand. They don't get it because they've been literally so programmed to think a certain way. TikTok is undoing that for us, the younger generation. It's crazy to watch in real time. If you haven't already, go read A Letter to America, she said. Osama bin Laden, a fucking terrorist that's responsible for attacking and killing us on 9/11, flying 2 planes into the World Trade Centers, the Pentagon. Thankfully, one was taken down before it had a chance to hit either the Capitol or the White House, wherever it was headed. And these young minds that were just babies when it happened, that know absolutely zero about these conflicts. Why? Because our school system doesn't teach it to them. Why? Because it's not politically correct. And it would make them sound like maybe bigots, they think, for being honest and telling the truth about the Quran and about radical Islam. So now, with the help of young people like this sharing their TikTok video about the letter that the fucking terrorist sent to America, justifying his attack and the lies he told, they believed that shit. And they doubled down on believing it when people in our Congress support their ideology. Moving on. House Speaker Mike Johnson suggested that the impeachment inquiry of President Biden would be moving into the next appropriate step, which includes gathering key witness testimony. Johnson got an update on the impeachment inquiry earlier yesterday from the 3 House GOP chairmen who are leading the probe: Oversight Chair James Comer, Judicial Chair Jim Jordan, and Ways and Means Chair Jason Smith. At this stage, our impeachment inquiry has already shown the corrupt conduct of the president's family, that he and the White House officials have repeatedly lied about his knowledge and involvement in the family's business activities. It has also exposed the tens of millions of dollars from foreign adversaries being paid to shell companies controlled by the president's son, brother, and other business associates. Johnson said the impeachment inquiry is moving ahead with his support. Now the appropriate step is to place key witnesses under oath and question them under the penalty of perjury to fill in gaps in the record, Johnson said. I condemn the good work of Chairman Comer, Jordan, and Smith as we move forward towards an inflected point in this critical investigation. They have my full and unwavering support. House Republicans have accused Biden and his family of bribery and influence peddling, including with foreign actors, China and Ukraine. You ever wonder why we're sending billions of fucking dollars to Ukraine? Billions. Billions. Not just military equipment, tanks, planes, guns, handguns, rifles, ammunition, but billions of your taxpayer money. What the fuck they need that for? The president's allies have dismissed the allegations as a political attack. Last week, Comer subpoenaed both the president's son and brother, Hunter Biden and James Biden, as well as several associates, including the gallery owner who hosted Hunter's foray into the professional art world, Glorious Bergs, Johnson, who was a constitutional lawyer before being elected to Congress, has taken a careful and meticulous approach to the possibility of impeaching the president. He's made no secret of his own opinions, including as a member of the Judicial Committee before becoming Speaker. Johnson has urged Republicans to follow due process to build a case. Johnson said at a press conference this month that House Republicans were coming to a point of decision on impeachment very soon. We have to follow due process. We have to follow the law, he said. That means following our obligation on the Constitution and doing appropriate investigations in the right way at the right place so that the evidence comes in and we follow the evidence wherever it leads. We are in deep shit. The country that I served for, in law enforcement as well as in the military, I don't recognize it anymore. I don't know what the fuck this is. We have a corrupt Justice Department. We have a corrupt FBI. We have corrupt members of Congress in the House and the Senate. We have a corrupt administration. And we're allowing terrorist sympathizers in Congress. We're allowing terrorists to come across our southern border into our country. Mark my words. Today is November 16th, 2023 at 8:53 p.m. You heard it from me. We will have another 9/11 type event right here in our country because of this administration. It will happen. I know it's going to happen. Common sense tells me it's going to happen. Talking to members of law enforcement that care, talking to members of the Border Patrol that care, and then hearing Director Wray stand right there in front of Congress and tell them, well, I use the words that were in his mind, we're fucked. We're allowing us to be screwed over and our country be ripped apart and our feet knocked right out from under us. This is insane. Absolutely insane what this administration is doing to this country. The world is on fire under Joe Biden's leadership and the people he put in charge of all of his cabinets. On fire. Where are all the liberals and Democrats that preached and cried and screamed and yelled how Trump's going to get us all killed? He's going to get us into World War III. He's going to destroy us with with other countries. He's going to get us in a war with China. He's going to get us killed in North Korea. He's going to get us in a war with Iran. He's going to get us in a war with Russia. Where are y'all at now? All of that you said was going to happen under Trump didn't happen under Trump. It happened under this current administration. And you motherfuckers aren't saying shit. And sadly, most of the Republicans that we put in position, that we vote in, are a bunch of weak, just spineless bastards that talk a big game until they get in there. And then they don't give a fuck. They don't care. The first attempt to censor Rashid Tlaib, Republicans shot that down, knowing what was coming out of her mouth. People are dying in America. Jewish people are being killed because of their rhetoric. They are inciting violence against anybody that supports Israel. Members of our Congress. What the fuck? I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. I continue to say it. The Second Amendment in our Constitution was written for this day. What we're experiencing right now, that's what the Second Amendment was for. It wasn't for hunting. It wasn't for sport shooting. It was to defend ourselves against a fucking government that's run amok. But yet, right under our nose, they saw to it that the laws and the rules of America were changed to where if you attempt it, just attempt it, you're going to prison as a domestic terrorist. There's no fucking way to activate our Second Amendment. Can't do it by phone, can't do it by email, can't do it on social media. They're monitoring everything. And you will go to prison, probably for life, if you attempt to organize anyone to use the Second Amendment for the reason it was put into the Constitution. This administration is allowing terrorists to come into America, allowing terrorists in our Congress. People that want to kill us. Think about it. And if you believe in the power of prayer, get on it. Morning and night, noon as well. Folks, you had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me. I am sorry that tonight's show was so full of negative, horrible shit. But you need to hear it. You need to know what's going on around this country and with this administration and the people they put in leadership positions. And you need to know what's going on in the world, and you need to know what's about to happen in America. And that's another 9/11 type attack that's probably going to make what happened on 9/11 look like a fucking walk in the park, sadly. Whatever you do this weekend, please be safe. Please, please watch out for your family and your friends. Exercise your Second Amendment rights to protect yourself. Not fight our government, because that can't be done. That's illegal. You'll become a domestic terrorist. You'll go to prison. but to protect yourself from what's coming. They're here. Terrorists are here right now as I speak, waiting for the right opportunity to kill you. Director Wray of the FBI made it very, very clear. And I challenge you to do your homework and right here on YouTube, watch the entire hour's worth of his testimony. And you're going to come away from that like I did going, how in the fuck did this administration allow us to get here? As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. We need God today more than we've ever needed God in my 61 years on this earth. Because without God intervening, we're screwed. Tune back in on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central. I will do a show next Tuesday. I will not do one Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving then. And we will also talk about the things that you should be thankful for, which American patriots already know that. Trying times, my friends, trying times. And it's very disheartening. I know it's disheartening for regular American patriots. Imagine how veterans feel. Imagine how our men and women in uniform feel right now. Imagine how our members of law enforcement walking around with a big, bright target on their back feel right now. Yeah, it's not good. Take care, everyone. Be safe. And I'll see you next Tuesday right here for another live broadcast. Good night.